The eyes of the world are on one man. Captured on CCTV footage inside Zaventem Airport, the man's accompanied by two others. He wears a white jacket and black hat as he pushes an airport trolley.
A photograph of 3 male suspects was taken at Zaventem. 2 of them seem to have committed suicide attacks. The third, wearing a light-colored jacket and a hat, is actively being sought.
The airport blast killed at least 11, injured 100, and sent hundreds fleeing for their lives. Just an hour later, a second attack. Another bomb went off at the Maelbeek Metro station, killing 20 more and injuring more than 130.
I'm so scared. I feel like it's the end of the world.
This woman fled the airport running along the motorway. She was in an airport bathroom.
I heard an explosion and all the ceilings is going down. And then I just go under the sink, and then the second explosion went, and then everything is black.
As Belgian police continued their manhunt for the suspect in the white jacket, French President François Hollande spoke about the link to the Paris terror attacks last November, which killed 130.
We need to realise the extent and gravity of this terrorist threat. These attacks follow others. Paris was particularly targeted last year.
Paris a été particulièrement ciblé l'année dernière. Nous sommes devant une menace.
We are facing a global threat which demands a global response. France and Belgium are connected by horror. We once again share it. And I express to the Belgian government our indispensable support so we can bring them all the means necessary.
World leaders joined the chorus condemning ISIS, who overnight claimed responsibility. Speaking from Cuba, US President Barack Obama vowed to help Belgium bring those responsible to justice.
And this is yet another reminder that the world must unite. We must be together, regardless of nationality or race or faith, in fighting against the scourge of terrorism. We can and we will defeat those who threaten the safety and security of people all around the world.
In the United States, the House of Representatives held a minute's silence.
The chair would ask all present to rise for the purpose of a moment of silence. The chair asks that the House now observe a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the terrorist attacks in Brussels.
Three Mormon missionaries from Utah and a US Air Force member and his family were among the Americans injured in the deadly bomb attacks. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio promised an increased police presence across airports and subways across the city in light of the attacks.
Expect to see extraordinary NYPD presence out over the coming days as a sign of our readiness to protect people at all times.
Security was also stepped up in London. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, David Cameron, says extra police were brought in to patrol key transport hubs.
I've chaired a meeting of COBRA here in London to make sure that we're doing everything we can to enhance our own security, and there'll be increased police presence at ports, airports, underground stations and international railway stations, as you'd expect. But these are difficult times, these are appalling terrorists, but we must stand together to do everything we can to stop them and to make sure that although they attack our way of life and they attack us because of who we are, we will never let them win.
Republican presidential candidate Senator Ted Cruz offered his condolences to the victims in Brussels, saying the attacks were a war on Europe.
Today's attacks in Brussels underscores that this is a war. This is not an isolated incident. This is not a lone wolf. This is a war with radical Islamic terrorism. ISIS has declared jihad on Europe and on the United States of America.
Mr. Cruz's Democratic counterpart, Hillary Clinton, said the test for world leaders was keeping its citizens safe.
When I think about what we have to do, I see the challenge ahead as one where we're bringing the world together, where we are leading the world against these terrorist networks.
Meanwhile, at the Greece-Macedonia border, more than 12,000 refugees stranded in no man's land expressed their sympathy for the victims of the Brussels attacks. Children, mainly from Syria, Iraq, Pakistan and Afghanistan, stood with handmade signs written with English slogans, which read, "I hate ISIS" and "Sorry for Brussels." The Syrian refugee said he knew what the people of Brussels were going through.
Everybody here, they feel sorry about what happened in Brussels. You know, we left our countries, our hometowns because of the same reason, because of ISIS, because of the suicide bombers.
They said the attacks would also make it harder for them to have hopes of new lives in Europe.
What happened today in Belgium, it's so bad for us, especially. Maybe they will be more afraid of us. They will make things harder for people here. People here have nothing to lose. They can't come back.
As night fell in Brussels, Belgians gathered in Place de la Bourse Square to pay tribute to the victims of the early morning terror attacks.
It honestly really hasn't sank in yet for me personally, because I never really believed that something could happen here in Brussels, but yeah, it's clearly here.
It's a sad day for us. Brussels is a fantastic place, and I don't want anyone to destroy this beauty that we live with here.
In Paris, City Hall was decked with Belgian flags and a moment of silence was held for the victims. The Eiffel Tower was lit in the colours of Belgium's flag, black, yellow and red, and in Germany, the famous Brandenburg Gate, a long-time symbol of European peace and unity, was also lit up in Belgium's colours. For Checkpoint, Alex Ashton.